Welcome to Storytime with Cozy Mauka, where we gather to share tales about responsibility, courage, and honesty. As we come together, let's put on our listening ears as we're transported into amazing stories. For this episode, we'll be learning about bravery versus injustice as we continue our tale about that clever rogue, Robin Hood, and his merry men. So without further ado, let's find a cozy spot, grab a friend, and let's enjoy a great story. Chapter 3: How Robin Dined with the Sheriff. It was mid-March when Robin of Locksley, not yet known as Robin Hood, took to the depths of Sherwood, knowing that a price would be set on his head for the killing of Guy of Gisborne's men, and still more for the way in which he had shamed Guy himself. Robin, who knew the forest wilds better than any man of his time, led his 9 men to a glade in a valley where a cave at the side gave them shelter. A clear stream provided water, and the deer, plentiful enough, served for meat. For the rest, they had brought all the stores there were in Locksley, and for the time were fed and content. Yet Robin knew well that the deer alone could not keep them, and he remembered too his promise to Guy of Gisborne that Abbot Hugo should pay for the farm he coveted. So he gathered his 9 followers, since no more yet had come to join them, and declared his purpose to them. "We are free men all," he told them, "and if I will you to obey me, it is for your own good. There are no more serfs among us, nor shall be. Now look you, my merry men, that you do no harm to yeomen, or to them that till the plough, or to the knight or squire who is kind to the poor. But these bishops and abbots who rob the poor, and the high sheriffs who bind and beat them, cropping their ears and cruelly ill-treating them, these you shall lighten of their ill-gotten gains. Yet by the Virgin you shall never do harm to any woman in the land." This was the law of the band that Robin formed, and but a day after he had made it, he and his men lay along the road in Nottingham, being out on a hunt, when the Prior of Newark came down the road with half a dozen baggage mules and monks to lead them, and only a couple of armed retainers of the priory for guard. Since these 2 took to their horses' heels at sight of 9 resolute bowmen and their hooded leader, for Robin had drawn a hood over his face before he showed himself, there was no fighting. But there were 2 kegs of good wine, and 400 marks in gold that the prior had taken as rent for his lands, and a store of brown cloth, and bags of good white flour, which Robin counted up while the prior and his monks stood by, bound with the ropes by which they had led the mules. "A discerning man, this prior," said Robin. "If we had told him our needs, he could not have served us better." "You hooded rascal," the prior stormed, "you dare not rob the church." "No, prior," said Robin, "but a fat thief who disgraces the church, as I will rob all like you. Now we bind you all on your mules, and give you a hand apiece free to guide them home, where you may tell that Robin I the Hood begins his rule in Sherwood Forest, and war on all oppressors of the poor." And while the disgruntled prior and his monks made their sorry way on towards Newark, Robin and his men retreated to their fastness with this welcome spoil. From that day the great outlaw began to be known as Robin I the Hood, or Robin Hood. Now lying up in the forest, they had no news of what went on in the outer world, and Robin himself determined to get news in some way. The spring was still young then. On the track between Mansfield village and Nottingham town, he met with the potter of Mansfield, who rode in his cart with a load of pots for sale in Nottingham. "A good day to you, potter," said Robin. "'Tis a good load you carry." "Good enough," reported the potter, driving on, but Robin got in the middle of the track, and the horse stopped. "Out, fellow," said the potter, "lest I drive over you." "Not so, potter," said Robin, "but let us drive a bargain. I have need of that horse and cart, and the pots as well. I will turn potter for the day, and see how goes the world in Nottingham." "Now I am a ruined man," said the potter, for he saw Scarlet and some others of Robin's men lurking behind the way, and knew himself out among outlaws. "For if I lose my horse and cart, you shall lose nothing by me," Robin promised. "Sell me the pots at the price you would ask in Nottingham, and I will leave with you 2 gold marks as surely for the horse and cart. But lend me too your clothes with the potter's clay on them, lest I should be known in Nottingham as Robin I the Hood himself." "Robin I the Hood?" the potter echoed, amazed. "He who with a band of 50 knaves robbed the prior of Newark?" "50," said Robin. "No, but it will be 100 when the prior has told the tale a few times more. But lend me the clothes and the horse and cart, potter, for there is no help for it." Contented by the sight of 2 gold marks and the price of his pots, The potter made the exchange, and Robin rode off to Nottingham, leaving the potter with his men till he should return. Having reached the town market-place, he set up his wares at less than half their usual price, and since one woman told another of the rare bargains to be had, he soon sold all the cheaper stuff. But he had left a dozen or so of large dishes and plates, the best of the stock. Now across the market stood the great house of Robert de Renault, Sheriff of Nottingham, and brother to Hugo de Renault, Abbot of St. Mary's. Robin put his wares in a basket, went across the market square, and knocked at the sheriff's door. Presently came a serving woman. "Having traded well in your market," said Robin with a bow, "I bring these poor vessels as a present from Mistress de Renault, if she will accept them as a gift." "A gift from you?" the woman asked. Robin nodded. "From the potter of Mansfield," he answered, and leaving the basket, went back to his cart and waited. Presently the woman came across the square and found him by his cart. "Good potter," she said, "my master thinks it a right welcome gift, for we are short of dishes, and he asks that you come back and take meat at his board." "Gladly," said Robin, "especially if there will be ale as well as meat, for crying pots for sale is dry work." He followed the woman into de Renault's house, well knowing that its owner would hang him yards high if he guessed his identity. There they gave him a seat at the great board, below the salt with de Renault's men, and piled his plate high with a great horn of ale beside it. Meanwhile, de Renault, seated above the salt with his wife and some friends, talked, which was what Robin wanted. 40 gold marks, said the sheriff, but the crier shall cry it in the town today. 40, said one of his friends, a high price for any man's head. But this is a dangerous man, the sheriff explained. He killed 7 of Guy of Gisborne's armed followers with his own hand and made Guy a laughingstock to boot. And with a great band of 70 or more followers, he robbed the prior of Newark of all the good men possessed. Good, said Robin to himself. The 50 have grown to 70 now. A dangerous villain, said the sheriff's wife. Let us hope he do not come to Nottingham. Let him come, cried de Renault. I would capture him myself and give you half the 40 marks reward for new dresses. Would you, though? Said Robin to himself, smiling. And today, the sheriff went on, he shall be cried through the streets of Nottingham as Wolf's head outlaw, for any man to take or kill at sight, with 40 marks reward for proof of his death, or for his body if captured alive. We must rid our good country of such pests. Robin got up from the board, having eaten enough, and marched up to stand before the sheriff, to whom he bowed low. Thanks for the good food, Lord Sheriff, he said, and I will now get back to my trade. Who are you, varlet, and what is your trade? The sheriff asked haughtily. And I trust your noble dame will find my poor pots welcome, Robin concluded, without answering the question. Ha, said de Renault, 'tis our potter. The dishes were right welcome, potter, and I trust you have fed well at my board. But now where do you go? Back to Mansfield to make more pots, for I have sold all my stock, Robin answered. Look to your going, then, the sheriff warned him, for there is a most pestilent rogue loose in Sherwood who will rob you of every groat if he find you. We have put out a reward of 40 gold marks on his head, and Guy of Gisborne is assembling band to scour the forest for him next week and root him out. If you get news of him, 'twould be worth a silver mark here. Lord Sheriff, said Robert meekly, if I can earn that silver mark, I will come back with the news. But I am a man of peace, and I trust I do not fall in with this outlaw. I give you good day. A good day to you, Master Potter, and our thanks for the dishes, said the sheriff's wife. Robin bowed to her and went on his way. Thank you for joining us for Storytime with Cozy Mauka. We'd love for you to share with our friends what you learned from tonight's tale. Join us next time for the continued adventures of Robin Hood.